can't be that bad. Oh, it 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 can't be that bad.
Pre-Prohibition style, apples were mostly grown for a cider.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Rather than just consuming it normally?
In fact, most people didn't eat apples, and it wasn't until Prohibition, the whole "an apple a day keeps the doctor away" came out during Prohibition because they were trying to convince people to eat the apple instead of drink it.
Oh, that's why? So not necessarily for its nutritional value, but just as competition to alcohol.
No.
Did I make any sense right there?
I don't think so. I think you misunderstood. Because they weren't allowed to drink hard cider anymore.
Yes.
People had to still sell apples. So they told you to eat them.
Yes.
And the best way to get people to eat is to say, "an apple a day keeps the doctor
doctor away.
Yeah.
What I was trying to say was that it's not necessarily like solely because an apple could keep the doctor away, but because they'd rather you do that than drink
They are highly nutritious.
Hard apple cider.
Yeah.
Apples.
A lot of antioxidants, and you should watch that Zac Efron show. It does a whole thing on apples.
Down to earth.
Apples
that's right.
and potatoes.
Oh, and potatoes?
Potatoes
have their nutritional value, but they just make you fat and pudgy, dude.
No, it's how you cook them.
It's how you cook it?
So the potato itself is a innately pretty nutritious thing.
So what's the healthiest way you could cook a potato?
Probably steam it.
Okay, a steamed potato. Okay.
It's like the other thing that people make a mistake about is the potato famine in Ireland.
Yeah.
It wasn't that they couldn't eat anything. It was that all they had was potatoes. And that Ireland was exporting so many potatoes that became the cash crop for them. Mm-hmm. So they stopped growing wheat and fucking barley and all the other shit that they used to live on.
Yeah.
Started growing potatoes. It destroyed all their crops. Because it's such a nutrient-dense food, it sucked up all the nutrients out of the soil.
Oh.
Fucked them all over for the next year.
That's why.
That's what caused the potato famine.
So they had okay.
It wasn't that they were all out of potatoes. Also, potatoes not even natural to Ireland. It's from Peru.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Because everyone would think that it came from Ireland.
Hey, you got it from Peru.
They would either think Ireland or Idaho, because Idaho's the potato state, right?
They grow really well in Idaho, so I hear. Never been.
Dude, my dogs are getting really fat because my mom's straight up feeding them pasta. I saw a bowl of pasta on the floor, and it was for my dogs.
Dogs are living it up.
My dogs have like 5 beds downstairs and bowls of pasta. What is a dog doing with pasta, man?
Eating it.
I understand that, but what is this, Lady in the Tramp? Literally?
It actually is. Does she put a nice sauce on it, like a nice bolognese or something?
Spaghetti sauce on it.
That's a little dangerous. Then sometimes the spices might be a little too much for their little tiny tummies. But,
yeah.
Honestly, these dogs must have iron stomachs because they get fed everything.
Dude, their stomachs, they're
expanded.
They're
super
something
bloated.
for sure.
Super
yeah,
bloated.
They look like white balloons.
Is that good?
What?
The stomachs?
They're no, really.
It can't be.
It depends. It depends because I had a dog that did pass away because she had a pot belly. But so now having seen that, I could decipher if they're just
like
kind of fat. She was cute. We'll get into the movie, but I do want to shout out Rosie, my old dog. Rest in peace, girl. Miss ya. But dude, yeah, she was very cute and pot bellied and would just kind of waddle around. And like toward the end of her life, she got blind, and so she was kind of like a Roomba. And just kind of, you saw her just kind of running into things and she's like figuring herself out. And as sad as it was, very cute.
Very.
Welcome to another episode of ICBTB podcast, also known as It Can't Be That Bad.
Podcast.
Baddies, thank you for joining us here tonight. We are recording in the evening, and it's very appropriate because what we watched is kind of dark.
Can you turn my headphones up a little bit?
Yeah. Oh, is it down? Okay.
Thank you. Now I can hear it.
How's that sound?
A lot better. I don't know if I could actually hear anything before that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
How
thick do you think this bandana is?
Looks like a thick bandana to me, man.
It sounded like I was just like hearing you through the headphones, but like not through the headphones, just like coming.
Oh, why did you say something before? You just realized? We recorded an entire episode prior to this.
I didn't want to listen to your stories.
Fuck you.
My name's Alejandro, and this is my co-host, Christian.
Hi.
We like to watch bad movies and prove that they're still good. If this is your first time here, welcome. If this is your second time here, welcome back. If this is more than your third time, thank you.
Relax.
Hang out.
Make yourself at home.
Kick your feet up.
You know, the word bad is subjective, which is why we're doing this podcast, because we're here to prove that it's not actually that bad.
And one thing you should also remember about this show is comedy is subjective, too. So,
yes.
You know.
So even if you might not like it in the moment, someone out there is thinking this is gold.
Someone thinks it's funny. Probably you, person listening to this in their car driving to work.
Yeah, drive safely.
watch out for that guy in the left lane.
Because he's a bad driver.
Drive defensively, not offensively. We watched a film today called The Tax Collector. Brand new film, actually just released in the last week.
Piping hot.
That's why the numbers are going to be fairly low, but statistically, could be a good film.
So if you're listening to this a month, 2 months after this episode drops,
check the numbers. Yeah,
it might not be accurate.
These are not going to be accurate numbers because I was even telling Christian before we hit record.
Yes.
The numbers I saw when I downloaded this film were lower than the numbers I saw when I came over today.
Wow. So it's just changing in the course of just the day.
Hey man, life plays tricks on the people who don't pay attention.
Yeah. So always pay attention
and keep your head up.
Yeah. This episode is mainly us telling people what to do. It's a motivational speak. Hey, I'll let you take the reins on this.
Always let the smart man take the reins. That's a good slogan.
We're just gonna have a bunch of sayings and idioms in this.
Honestly, guys, if you write these down and put them in a book, we'll give you 5% of the sales.
Yeah.
The
Tax Collector.
Could you write a book?
I mean, no. I think.
Would you write a nonfiction book?
I'm gonna say no.
No.
I think it takes too much time and discipline, and I'm not interested enough in it to write a book. I'm down to write screenplays.
Do you think
you
could write like the next Harry Potter?
No.
Or do you think you'd write like the next comedy for dummies?
No. I think I could actually write something that is fiction because you could just kind of let loose. There are no boundaries or restrictions because you ain't playing by realism, boy.
If you're really careful, you can spin it like L. Ron Hubbard and make a whole religion out of it.
Oh, yeah. That's. But I'm not looking to do anything like that. I'm not trying to form my own cult.
Good deflection. Good deflection. So later on, when you do, they'll be like, "What about this?" And you'll be like, "I'm pretty sure I said I wouldn't."
Pretty sure, yeah.
Thus, I'm not a cult leader.
This is not gonna happen, dude.
I'm just Jesus.
I could see you being a cult leader.
And you definitely want to be the leader, not the follower.
I'd just rather not be in the cult, man.
I think cults can be fun.
What?
Not Nexium.
CrossFit
not
is
that.
A cult, and I guess that's the funnest cult around.
And arguably not even the healthiest.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because it's just too much. Let's get into the movie.
I
want to talk about too much pounding.
I just want to get the lightness out because this movie is heavy.
We're not going to be laughing too much.
I actually didn't laugh. Well, I did laugh, but it was my like, oh my God, what the fuck am I watching laugh.
Yes.
As I was watching this film.
Actually, yeah. No, I have laughs there, but more so like.
Mine was like the holy shit.
Oh, another flashback. That's what I was laughing at.
Really?
There's so many flashbacks.
Really?
Yeah, they had to kind of like shove in like, remember when he learned Aikido? Or whatever the fuck.
That was jujitsu.
Jujitsu?
But you didn't think that was actually happening? I thought that was just part of his day. Like, and then at 2
No.
o'clock he goes.
But later on,
that's right.
Let's get into it, dude. There were some flashbacks.
David Ayers, bro.
David Ayers.
We watched a movie called The Tax Collector.
Yeah.
Was released in the great year 2020. Not. It has a runtime of 1 hour, 35 minutes, or 95 minutes. Has a 4.7 out of 10 on IMDb, a 19% on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 22% on Metacritic. Mr. Balthazar.
That's me.
What percentage of Google users approve of this film?
I'm going to say 87%.
Incorrect.
Ooh, what is it?
82%.
Ooh, lower.
82% of people like this film. I got a synopsis coming at you here. Buckle in, because it's a good one.
Buckle in, boys and gals.
2 enforcers for a crime lord face an uncertain future when an old rival reappears. Directed and written by David Ayers.
Ooh, real short.
Produced
he wrote
by David
it too.
Ayers as
He
well.
did everything.
Yeah. Top 4 builds, we got Shia LaBeouf, Bobby Soto, Cynthia Carmona, and the incredible George Lopez.
That's right.
There was a rumor when this film was announced that Brendan Schaub was supposed to be in this film.
Brendan Schaub is in this film, dude.
Is he? I didn't see him.
Yep.
Where is he?
That's because no one can pick him.
Which one would the fuck
As much
was
as
he?
Brian Callen is in
him.
Joker,
No, but you can see Brian Callen.
You don't see it because, okay, so there's
You
a
can
scene.
see Brian Callen. Where is he? Where the fuck is Brendan
So when
Schaub?
Conejo's gang shoots up the tire shop where
Is he
George
one of the
Lopez
guys in the car?
He's one of the guys with the masks on, so you don't see him.
But he's one. How do you know which one's him?
You don't know.
You just know that that's one of
There's
those
an episode
guys
of Fighter and the Kid
where he's like, I'm one.
where they play the trailer and he says, That's me. And
it's like how Daniel Craig's one of the stormtroopers
Exactly.
in Force Awakens, but it's like it honestly could have just been a voiceover.
Yeah, he did it to be like just on the set. It's not necessarily like him.
They made a big
obviously
deal
acting.
about his announcement being in the cameo.
Yeah.
That's why and I knew that before, like when this film was announced, I remember the whole big deal because we've talked about this film in the past.
Yes.
Like building up to this film.
Yes.
So I knew that Brendan Schaub was gonna be, but I could not for the life of me fucking find him, and I think that's fucking bullshit because they sold it as if he was gonna have. I thought. Do you remember when they first walk in? After they beat up the black guy and they're going to meet up with those guys, the
Yes.
homeboy on the second floor holding the shotgun.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be Brendan Schaub. And in fact, rewound it a couple times to be like, is that Brendan Schaub?
Yeah.
Like bald Brendan Schaub? No.
No, at the entire
That would have
time,
been a better cameo for
the
him.
entire time he had a mask on.
Was he the red one with the cowboy hat?
I could not tell
I
you.
bet you he was the red one with
Because
the cowboy
on
hat.
that episode of The Fighter and the Kid that I was watching and they were reacting to the trailer, he just kept on saying, that's me.
Is that how you heard about
That's
this
me
film?
again. No,
Was
not at
through
all.
that? Oh, okay.
I heard about this through you. That Shia LaBeouf was
the
taking on
tattoo.
this role with a tattoo. He got real tattoos for this movie, and it was very hyped.
And this movie, as far as I can see, was started production in 2018. That's
Okay.
when Shia LaBeouf signed on. That's when Brendan Schaub signed on. Which is weird that he signed a contract for that cameo.
Wow.
And they made an announcement and shit like that. That's why I was like, oh, they probably didn't use it then. That's why I'm like really shocked.
No, they
that
definitely used it. They definitely used it. There's pictures that Brendan Schaub put up, like hanging out with David Ayers and Shia, and he was just talking
too bad
about
he sucked as a cameo then.
dude. But honestly, the opportunity to just be on set with some like heavy hitters like Shia, he says that like.
Did he get to meet him though? Did he get?
Yeah,
I guess
he got
must
to
have-
hang
they
out
were-
with him.
They were in a scene together.
Well, because the thing about Shia said before, and he said, "I'm not in Hollywood. I just navigate around it, right?" Which is why
I
he's
didn't know he
so
said that, but that's an incredible.
It's
That's
incredible.
a really good quote.
right. Which is why he's humble enough to take on a project like this and not be the lead, right? To actually,
But they definitely sold it as if he was.
yes,
They knew what
yes.
they were doing.
They knew that with the marketing, but to like in actual performance, he knows that that Bobby Soto was going to be the lead, right?
Sure. I mean,
And-
if you read the script, you kind of know you're not.
You know for sure. But
Also,
the selling
Creeper is
point.
more fun of a character.
I want to see a
Creeper's the
side
more
story
fun
of
character.
Creeper.
I want to see. I was texting one of our friends over at Real Buzz Crew.
Nice. Shout out Rob.
Shout out Rob. And we were saying, and actually he thought I was you, and I didn't have the heart to tell him in the text message that it was me because he
Did
kept.
you never tell him?
No, because I figured he'd listen to the episode.
Okay.
But I was also like, I just didn't want to be that guy because he was like, oh, let me know what Alex thinks of it, and I was like, he liked the film.
Oh, I didn't even because I didn't read your text
Of course
combo.
not, because we talked for quite a while.
Yeah.
And we both have access to the ICBTB.
Yes. So if,
DM,
guys,
so-
if you're DMing us,
It's a coin toss on who you're gonna get.
yeah, just try to read the tone. We'll make it fun. Just
doesn't- and
really
honestly-
guess.
Yeah, it should be. I give a lot of one-word answers.
I'm the really polite one.
I'm fairly polite to our
No,
fans.
you're polite, but like I'm like the one that has like 3 exclamation points, and sometimes I say -Christian just to make it clear. But from
Yeah,
now on,
I never make it clear, and from now on, I'm never making it clear.
nope, it's gonna be super ambiguous.
Anyways, we were talking quite a bit about this film, and he had brought up a couple of points that I'll bring up later on that are great talking points. So I hope, Rob, we're not stealing anything from you. But we did talk about how this film was definitely sold as a Shia LaBeouf film, and not necessarily what it is, and also that Creeper is for sure the more fun of, the more fun character. I think Danny has more to do, but what I was going to say was I would have liked to see a prequel of them robbing that armored truck that we find out they did.
yeah, dude.
They kind of shoehorned that in at the end. I would have liked to have seen. I wouldn't, because was it him and Creeper? It was him and Creeper who robbed the armored truck, right?
Yes.
And
Which is why they had so much money back in the past.
Was that the job that the Bloods helped them?
It's possible. There's a lot of ambiguity in this film, so you don't really know how they build these relationships where they get some money.
There's also a lot of connections too,
Yes.
right? Did you read about the connections that this film has to other David Ayers films?
Oh, as if it's in the same universe, because a lot of David
Exactly.
Ayers films are very much like Quentin.
So this one takes place in the same world as Training Day.
Yes.
So and the leader of the Bloods he's in Training Day. That actor and that character.
Wow, that's why he was so in it.
And then I
Okay.
believe it's in Sabotage that they reference the Hillside Treses,
Okay.
the other gang that's giving them trouble.
Oh, okay.
And so they name check that gang a couple of times, and that gang is brought up in a
love that.
different film.
Hey, man.
So David Ayers does a really good job of. I think he's very underrated in world building. Right?
Yes.
Fury is one of my favorite films that he watched, and in fact, right around 4th of July, whatever, that was like on repeat on TV. And in fact, I think that's one of the best war films that isn't realistic at all. I mean, it's just not it's a comic book story that isn't a
It's
comic
like
book.
5 dudes in a tank.
Take on like
surviving.
an entire SS battalion.
I wonder how far you realistically could get with just in an armored tank with the best soldiers. So strategy ain't a problem. It's just really numbers and how far can you get.
Probably about 10 minutes into that film, I think we underestimate how quickly people die in war. I
Yeah.
think movies make us think people like...
Well, they glorify it.
They land on the beaches of Normandy and make it to Berlin. It's
Hell
like,
no,
I don't
dude.
think any of
You're
them did.
dying on the boat before you land on the
For
fucking
sure.
beach, man.
Especially we are. We're the fodder.
For sure, dude. I'm gonna have a heart attack before we even
I'm just a
get on the
cook.
shores.
I don't know how to do this.
I don't know how to swim.
Sidebar. When I was in New York, I went to the USS Intrepid, the aircraft carrier that they have there.
Yeah.
And they had a whole exhibit on the cooks of the Navy.
I'm glad they're getting
And you know what?
that recognition.
One of my favorite parts of the museum
Nice.
was because you don't think about it. One of the traditions that the Navy has is they bake these giant ornate cakes.
Yeah.
And they have to bake them on these sheets. They only have these baking sheets, but they have hundreds and thousands of them. So they just bake and bake and bake and make these giant cakes and then frost them. And then they cut them with these big sabers and they use them for like giant, like when Japan surrenders or when it's Douglas MacArthur's birthday or they like sink a battleship or something. They bake these giant cakes. And I was just like, well, that's nice to know. Like,
Honestly, yeah. I mean, fun facts are party tricks, dude. Look at this. You're saying it on air.
yeah, you should have seen the menus. The menus were fun too because they had the menus and it'd be like, starts off with like crackers and tomato soup. And then you have like either roast beef and vegetables or chicken and like mashed potatoes or whatever. And then for dessert, a cigar, a cigarette, and coffee. And it's like, nice.
You tell
Thank you,
me
America.
you get a cigar for dessert with some coffee?
They give it to you every day for dinner.
Damn, dude, that's classy
God,
as hell.
I miss the 40s.
That's classy. You missed the 40s, yeah.
The Tax Collector film has those connections to other David Ayers films.
Which is really cool, yeah.
Yes.
World building, like you had said. That is
Incredible
something that he
world
doesn't get
building.
enough recognition for. That only really movie buffs will have the interest of making those connections.
I agree. His world building, I think, is something that I think people want to see more of, yet don't appreciate.
Yeah.
Look at how this film is received. I think what also turns this film off to a lot of people is the insane amount of violence. We should have
Yeah.
put that disclaimer on the last episode.
Yeah.
I did not expect this film to be that violent.
Yeah, but the violence doesn't necessarily roll in until a little bit later.
No, it's shocking. It is pretty shocking. But
Yeah.
2 points on the violence. One of the most realistic artistic views of violence I've ever seen in a film. Nothing in this movie made me think, oh, that's Hollywood.
Yeah.
Everything from the road rash of that guy's face to the bullets in the hotel room to David at the end of the film, all of the violence and then the repercussions of the violence
Yes.
seemed very, very real to me.
I do want to highlight that moment where he does take the man's face, Bobby Soto, and like grinds it like they're in the moving van and puts it up against the gravel in a moving car, man. And then you see his face, and he literally looks like Two-Face.
Yes.
From
Worst-
DC.
And you know
And
what?
he's still talking.
He grunting.
Yeah, grunting, really trying to get an address out of his mouth.
Yeah, it's that. I believe it was that scene, or maybe it was when Shia died, where I was I was watching it in my room, and I was like, I was doing that laugh, that holy fucking shit laugh.
Yeah.
And my mom just happened to be coming down the hallway, and she was like, "Are you okay?" And I had to like pause it and like walk away. 3 times I had to pause this film. The first time I watched it, I had to pause it and walk away.
Well, because it is overwhelming, dude. Oh my gosh,
Like,
man.
Even now, just thinking, I was not prepared for that amount of violence
For
or the graphicness, because I've just told you
Yes.
the other day about how I don't like graphic gore.
yeah, it's
But
a little too much.
This is realistic, though.
Yeah.
Right? It's weird where my line is drawn.
Yeah, no, I mean, it has to be done well. Like, obviously, my line is drawn. I can enjoy Quentin because it is obviously very fictitious and over the top,
yes,
right?
Yes.
But I draw the line at something like Saw or Hostel. I cannot.
Agreed.
That makes me gag. That's just like too much.
It's
It's not
shock
even
value.
enjoyable. It is shock value.
But wouldn't you say that man's face on the gravel is also shock value?
Yeah, it's gonna make you cringe
So
for a
what's the-
little bit.
So why do we like that? Why do we think that is more artistic?
Well, okay, to dissect that scene a little bit more, you don't see it happen. You see the
Yeah, you do.
repercussions, but you don't see.
Yeah, you do.
Do you actually?
Yeah, it cuts to a shot that's like from the
shit.
wheel.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. And then,
It's brutal. But like, you know what I think it is, though? This is a fictitious world
yeah,
that is very realistic.
yeah,
the concepts and maybe the storyline isn't very realistic. I don't believe that there's one tax collector going around to all the gangs in East LA and collecting money for the cartel. I just think the cartel runs these gangs, but I don't think they have these two guys who go around, which apparently it's also like a title. Like that tax collector job used to be his dad's. And question, his dad's the wizard, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And his dad is also Senator Organa from Star Wars.
Oh, is that who
That's who that is, dude.
I thought I recognized him.
Yeah, that's him. Like, right when I saw his face in that jail cell, I was like, that's Leia's stepdad.
That's fucking hilarious.
Crazy, man. Yeah, they're really putting some hitters.
You know who else sneaks in this film?
Who?
George Lopez.
George Lopez. Honestly, I have such respect for George Lopez being as tough in this movie. For having come from a typecast of having like this sitcom, right? And
everybody in this film, and I don't want to knock the guy who plays David. But Bobby I think,
Soto,
unfortunately, and he's doing a great job too, but unfortunately, he's in there with these actors who are doing such great character work.
Yes.
His character, to me, falls a little flat. It makes sense for who he is and pushes the story, but to me, even his wife has a bigger, more defined character than Bobby Soto's.
Yeah, because his character is kind of generic. Like, he is he's that calming trope of like, yes, I'm a tough person in the gang.
The reluctant prince.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. Mm-hmm. Right? He has this big task where he knows he needs to get shit done, but it's all for his family type of thing.
And so here's my next question for you that I wanted to bring up.
What's up?
Is the test put on by the wizard? Did the wizard bring in
That's
Conejo?
what I found was a little bit ambiguous. But the wizard does say one thing at the very end. He says, "You saved me, son." And that makes me think that he was in danger from Conejo and Conejo's gang, and since he destroyed Conejo, his men are no longer going to be after. Which is why they showed so much violence in the prison. There was like 3 dead dudes, right?
They don't. That's the other thing. In the beginning, you think that they're showing, in like Shia LaBeouf dragging that guy by the neck and smoking the cigarette covered in blood, and then those guys in the prison. They show you that stuff, and you think it's just kind of cutaways and feed for the fodder. But what it actually is explaining how deep this stuff goes back. You mentioned earlier how the flashbacks got kind of nauseating near the end of this film.
Yeah.
But I disagree. I think they kind of served the purpose of building that world. They showed us, I wish we could have seen some different ones. And you're right, the one that you brought up in an example is like the silliest, shittiest flashback. But I think they helped build the world. Was that on air? Did they hear that?
What?
About the flashback?
Yeah, when I was talking, we had already pressed record. No, what made me laugh was like at the very end when David is beating the shit out of Conejo in the bathroom, right?
Yeah.
He is like in a position that is very resembling of a position that he was in when he was doing the jiu-jitsu class, right? And it shows that, and he's supposed to like flip over the guy. It's funny because they show that flashback, but instead of using the jiu-jitsu, he ends up just beating the shit out of him.
He picks
with
up a
sink.
Yeah. So I agree, and now even that you're explaining it more, I'm more on your side with it. I think we already know he knows jiu-jitsu. We already know that he gets his ass beat when he has his back on the ground, and the guy has the top ground. We've seen it already.
Yes.
But we've also seen him learn how to get out of it.
Yes.
It's a redundant.
It could have just been a subtle thing, and we're like, oh, that's where I
think the flashback should have been from Conejo.
Yes.
The flashback should have been Conejo killing George Lopez. Or actually, but even that's the other thing. That guy who was with Conejo, homeboy.
Yeah, which one? The long-haired guy?
He's an UFC
He's an
fighter.
MMA fighter. Yeah, that's right.
What the fuck is his name? He's a bad motherfucker.
Yeah, he looked like a bad motherfucker. He's a bad
motherfucker, dude.
They're just trying to get a bunch of fighters in here. They got Brendan Schaub in there.
And Latino power, bro. This movie had it going on. I don't know what David Ayers' descent is, but the Latino in me was fucking going. I do also want to say.
Yes.
I love this film from the first 5 seconds.
Yeah.
When it opens up and it says, life, loyalty, honor.
Exactly, yeah.
Or life, family, honor, whatever. Mm-hmm. And the fucking font.
Yes. It was like a cursive font. Oh, very similar to your tattoo. Very similar to my tattoo.
And it, like, I just immediately. I was into it.
What I like about the beginning is that it starts off, because anyone watching this film already knows that it's going to be violent. It's about gangs.
I didn't. I knew it was going to be about gangs. I did not think it was going to be this violent. I think also I forgot how violent David Ayers gets when he's not handcuffed by Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Because I was expecting Suicide Squad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think everybody is expecting has
which is
Suicide Squad
very
in their
filtered,
mouth.
very
Yes.
filtered when you hear David Ayers' name, right? You think Suicide Squad.
I hate that we accredit Suicide Squad to him because that's not the
It
movie
sucks.
he wanted to
well,
make.
it's even though that objectively wasn't a good movie, the idea.
I don't blame him for it.
Yeah, it's just kind of like he tried. He definitely tried. And
Proof is the Zack Snyder Justice League.
yeah, like visually, that movie was fucking great, and so you know what he could do, like visually. Do you not
It was
agree
fun.
with that?
It was fun, but I think that editing and the cut. You're talking about like the character introduction scene.
The character introductions and all that stuff, that kind of editing was kind of cool. There's a vision there. You
Yeah.
can tell those are bold decisions.
But I don't know if that was David Ayers
Ooh, that's okay.
because
yeah.
the editor got a lot of props, and then the editor of the trailer got a lot of props too.
Yeah.
Because remember the first trailer that we saw ended up like none of those scenes ended up being in the movie.
And I fucking hate when they do that. Trailers
Because
fuck up.
because the trailer was based on the real movie.
Yes.
The trailer was based on the movie that David Ayers had made, where the Joker has an hour more of screen time, is the main villain, and partners with Enchantress to go against the Suicide Squad.
I feel like there was a lot of potential. Well, now next year they're going to come out with the Suicide Squad,
which is unrelated new movie.
yeah, unrelated, new, probably going to be rated R. Hopefully,
It
going
is.
to be
It
rated
is.
R.
But because of Deadpool.
Yes.
Remember, Deadpool came out after Suicide Squad.
And they're like, okay, I guess a rated R superhero flick could actually work.
I did say too. I don't know if this was on air. I wish Suicide Squad was this violent.
Yeah.
Even that shitty storyline, if it was this violent though, because the comic book was super violent.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Suicide Squad when I bought Suicide Squad as a kid being one of the comics that I hid because not that like my parents would see it and like know what I was reading, but because I knew how violent a fucking
Yeah,
comic
no.
book it was.
Well, with like a concept where you are utilizing anti-heroes, right? Literal villains
The
of this
whole fun
comic
is-
universe.
yeah.
The fun is the
killing of them.
killing, the lack of boundaries that they have because they are demented. You should fucking capitalize in that, especially when you have millions of dollars to make it work.
Which brings me, I wanted to bring up the budget and the
Yeah,
box office.
I'm very curious as to what this is because independently produced, right?
I don't know. RJE, I believe, was the company that helped produce
Yeah.
it.
It is RJ. What kind of company are they?
We've seen a couple of films by them. They
Interesting.
make quite a few films. In fact, another one, and now that I watch them so much, Instagram pumps their like films directly to me.
Algorithms, dude.
I'm actually not complaining.
Yeah, I'm not mad about
if
that.
I never have to go on Amazon searching for something again, they just tell me I want it. I'm cool with it.
Dude, yeah. No,
Thank
I
you,
get
George
it.
Orwell.
It's better than my algorithms right now. You tap on one IG model and they just give you boobs on the feed. That's all we see on ICBTB IG now.
And I try so hard to fight it, dude.
Dude.
You blame it on me, but it's somewhere in the middle.
There's a mix.
honestly.
There's a mix.
It's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Anyways, that was enough stalling because I have the budget here for
Yeah,
us.
let's hear it.
It's kind of hurts to know this, but I think it's because it's only had a weekend out. We haven't even. It's by the time we're recording this episode, it hasn't been out for 2 weekends.
Okay.
It's also straight to VOD,
Yep.
which I think also may have been the original plan. I don't know if Tax Collector was ever intended to go to theaters.
That is, I don't know. I really couldn't tell you. But so what are the numbers?
I'm going to go backwards, okay? Because it's
How
a
much
little
it
more
made,
fun.
and then how much do I think?
Was the budget
Okay. Let's
first
go.
weekend VOD only? $309,000 box office. This number was claimed in August 9th.
Okay. Okay.
So it made $309,894.
All right. That's in 2 days.
What do you think the budget for this David Ayers, Shia LaBeouf film?
Fuck, dude. That's
I
really
think
hard.
Shia LaBeouf was also a producer.
I'm not really good with. I'm gonna go with 10 mil.
This movie had a $30 million budget.
$30 million.
I think you can see it in the set, the cars, the costumes, and then some of the actors. I don't think Shia LaBeouf is cheap. I don't
No.
think George Lopez is cheap.
But also, I could see George Lopez asking for a pretty penny. I could see the guy who played the
Lopez
wizard.
got a mil.
For sure.
Wizard didn't get a mil.
Didn't get a mil.
No way.
You know this for.
No,
yeah.
I'm just guessing.
He's just
I'm
not
ju-
as popular
I'm
of
just,
an actor.
I'm just
for
throwing
sure.
it out there. I think based on star power
Yes.
and how much we see in the lines,
Yeah.
I don't think Wizard gets money based
I'm only
on-
thinking that because he has Star Wars underneath his belt, and so that's something that he could flex
We
on
don't
his
even see his
resume.
face. We see his chin.
Oh yeah, you see his face in bad lighting at the very end.
He's got 8 lines.
Shia, I could see being very humble and just
Shia, I don't think is cheap.
yeah. I don't think his baseline is cheap, but I don't think he's crazy over the top expensive because if he likes the character, or if he likes the director, I feel like he'll do a favor and he just wants to make art, man.
I think if it's a $30 million budget, I think He's getting close to 10.
He's probably getting a larger fraction.
He's getting more than $1 million. I don't think Shia gets out of bed for less than $1 million.
$30 million. No, at least $1 million.
I'm surprised actually. $30 million blows my mind that they. But it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. I do want to talk about how like Shia is getting a lot of heat from this movie because they think he's doing brownface.
I was gonna bring that up. Rob, that was one of the first things that Rob texted me. He's like, I can't 12, and I'm gonna say no, and I'll tell you exactly why.
And I'll say no as well, and I think I might know exactly why.
Is it because we know white boys who grew up in that area and would talk like that?
Well, it's because I saw an article where David Ayers defends it and says, no, Shia LaBeouf is playing a white guy that grew up in the hood.
Exactly.
And so he has those inflections.
I know people who, and not necessarily in that hood or in that neighborhood, but we know people of different ethnicities who grow up in a neighborhood and learn how to speak like that. Now, my family is from LA, and like we do know some people who've like grown up in that area, and that is just a matter of fact. Like homeboys are homeboys, right? Doesn't matter if you're white, black, brown. What doesn't matter? My dad's Dutch Indo and lived in East LA. All his friends were Mexican. Everyone just thought my dad was Mexican, but he's Dutch Indo. You know what I mean? You grow up in the area that you are. I think he does an incredible job. At no point do I think he is doing an accent for the sake of a character.
Yeah.
I think he's inflecting statements that reflect who he is as a character.
Yeah.
Right? Because he only ever really does the like, why don't you come look me in the eyes?
Yeah.
You know, like, or like, hey, essay. Like, it's very small. Actually, he doesn't ever say essay, but like, it's very small things. It's not his full-time speech. When he's in the car talking, he doesn't really like have that thick of an accent. But it is the major statements that are generational, handed down from hood to hood, from people to people, from, you know, when you grow up in like, that's just what you hear.
Yeah,
hey, man,
knowing what kind of artist Shia LaBeouf is, I don't think he is ignorant enough to just take on a character of a different ethnicity and show them in a derogatory way. For sure. I think he is really taking on this character and knowing that it's realistic that a person of a different ethnicity could take on that kind of inflection.
And here's my thing about brown face and black face and things like that. Do you know why I don't consider this brown face, or why I wouldn't consider why I wouldn't consider like white chicks the reverse of blackface? It's because the well, maybe not that one, but the reason why I don't consider this one brown face is because it's not like he is out there wearing brown makeup, wearing a sombrero, and then doing this character. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's portraying a real person. Real people live like that. Real people act like that, and real people talk like that.
Yeah.
Of that design and act that way.
It's not Mickey Rooney from Breakfast at Tiffany's.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not. It's not
Mickey Rourke.
Or Mickey Rourke. I'm so sorry. Mickey Rourke.
But no, you're right. I think it's one thing to be doing blackface minstrel show to degrade and make black people feel bad about themselves and prove to them that they're nothing better than a joke, and then it's another thing to be a artist in the highest sense of the word, where you've embodied a character so much to the point where you're getting a 18-hour tattoo done permanently.
Yeah.
To play this character.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes.
that brings me to my next point of that tattoo that Shia LaBeouf had on his chest is a real tattoo that he got done. And we see it for 15 seconds.
Really? It's not...
And you don't even... I almost thought there were going to be a scene where it's just like him getting dressed. They were really just going to shoehorn in that tattoo.
Or him beating the shit out of someone while he's shirtless. I will
Something.
venture to say that in a violent movie, Shia LaBeouf is one of the least violent characters in here. He
is.
In terms of like actions, like you see him threaten with a power drill, which is scary as fuck.
That's a growl, man.
But
I want to talk about that.
You don't see him kill anyone. You see him shoot a gun. You don't actually see him inflict any pain amongst
We see him
anyone.
strangling that guy. Remember, he's dragging that guy by the belt,
tie or whatever,
by the belt, and then he's covered in blood. And Soto is saying, "I've seen guys chopped up with chainsaws."
So it is insinuated that he is a violent character, and that he even has quotes saying like, "Hey, are we killing anyone today? I'm wearing nice shoes," and it's so nonchalant. And
the guy's like, "I've heard you're the devil," and he's like, "I might be," and he like laughs. He like likes that. I love the sunglasses on him,
dude. Shia LaBeouf.
He takes off a little too much.
Baddest motherfucker.
I would have kind of liked if he never took his sunglasses off, but I do like when he does.
But that's because you don't like taking your sunglasses off.
Maybe at the end of this episode, I'll take mine off, but we got to black out my eyes. Fuck, what was I going to say about Shia LaBeouf? What were we just talking about?
We're talking about how he's a bad motherfucker?
How he's like maybe the least violent character in this film.
Yes.
I agree, but I think the insinuated danger of him is so much better.
It's scary. You don't have to see it. It's like, we know he's violent, but what
could he do?
The mystery of what could he do?
Yeah.
What is he capable of doing?
I was thinking about this earlier today. I've seen this film, actually, honestly, I've seen this film almost 7 times now.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that many times.
Yeah. I've rented it twice.
Nice. You should have just bought it, dude.
I should have.
At that point.
But I don't know now if I'll ever watch it again.
Oh, yeah.
Right? I'm pretty sad.
Uh-huh.
But I've watched it a lot of times, and I think he makes the beautiful sentence that's in the trailer, and everybody knows it, where he's like, I got 238s on both my ankles. He's like, I got 38s on both my ankles. I got 25 on my right. I got a 48 on my left. He goes, and I got a chopper in the trunk.
Yep.
I don't think you need all of that.
That's a lot.
I would never want to carry a gun on my ankle. One, because I don't think the holsters are good, and the gun you're carrying has got to be at least a 22, because it's not going to be very big. I don't have big ankles, so I'm not going to be able to carry a 357 on my ankle, which I would assume would be worth carrying as a revolver. So here's this guy carrying 2 ankle holsters
strapped
with 2 different 38s, and the 38's like a police special. So it's going to be that snub nose that he pulled out and put in Hector from fucking Fast and the Furious' face, because he's in every Latino gang film. We'll get to that in a second. So we know what kind of 38 he's talking about, and we know what 38s he carries. My thing is, honestly, the Glock is probably the best gun that he's carrying. If you're going to have a gunfight and you've come down to your ankle holsters, that's 6 to 5 shots, you're fucked anyways, bro.
Yeah. Oh, at that point, that's last resort.
And when
ammunition.
it popped off, he didn't even go to his Glock. When everything popped off, he went to another 6-shooter like a fucking cowboy. And guess what happened? He ran out of bullets, and they fucking took him. Right?
Man, dude.
He literally ran out of bullets. He could have been carrying something that had 24 shots in his pants.
I wish he was
going to
go out like Scarface style. At least take some down. Some of Conejo's men down before he was taken. But
I think a couple of Conejo's
he took
men
down a couple, but like it should have been.
Yeah.
I would like to prescribe this with the typical ICBTB prescription. Take this and make it a mini series, because make it either give us like a little prequel.
That would have been
for
really,
Creeper.
You're right. We could have gone back. We could have the first episode could have been the first 10 minutes, right, where we get to see them do their job. Second episode, we see a little backstory on Soto. We see a little backstory of David.
Yeah.
Third episode, we see a backstory of Creeper. Fourth episode, we see a backstory for George Lopez and Conejo. We see him kill.
Conejo's dad.
Yeah, is Conejo's dad Homeboy's dad?
Who's dad? Who's Homeboy?
MMA fighter who killed George Lopez.
No. Conejo's dad. Conejo's just completely unrelated from that guy. Conejo's just another form of protection for MMA fighter dude.
An MMA fighter dude.
Venom. His name is Venom.
In real life?
No, in the movie.
Okay.
Yes.
We gotta look it up, because I really like him as a fighter. He's a really good fighter.
Sidebar. Do you know what Brendan Schaub's character is listed as? What his name is on the cast list?
No.
And I'm sure it's pronounced in Spanish, but the word for black in Spanish when you're using
Negro.
that, yes, that's what his character's name is. And I was like, wow. And I was also getting surprised, because that's when I found out, like, Brendan Schaub's in this fucking movie? This is a Google glitch.
That's the funny thing about it's just, but that doesn't mean, like the derogatory term for black people in Mexico is not that though.
Yeah,
like they have different derogatory terms.
I'm sure
for black people.
There's a whole nother vocabulary that I'm afraid to hear.
Oh man, work in a kitchen, you'll learn them.
Oh man, goddamn, dude.
So.
In regards to the miniseries,
Venom's dad.
Yes.
Real quick, Venom's dad was killed by George Lopez.
No, Conejo's dad was killed by George Lopez, and that's why Conejo has such a big vendetta against George Lopez.
Also, Venom's.
Are they related?
I don't know. That's my question, though.
No. From my understanding, it's only Conejo's dad.
But because it was Venom who killed him, though. Because remember, the whole thing was like, your uncle's the one who killed my dad, and that trigger was pulled years ago. Because he did it and didn't kill his son, this is what happens. Because that's what happened. Remember, Conejo says that. He's like, this is what happens when you kill a man and don't kill his son. Yes. He's talking about Venom.
No, I thought Conejo was talking about
referring to himself. No, I'm pretty sure he's talking about Venom.
Hey, you might have a better angle on this because you've seen it 7 times.
I think Conejo, George Lopez ran Conejo out of L.A. That was the thing.
Which is why Conejo was in the West.
It went back to Mexico.
Is that what he said? Oh, he was in Mexico.
He went back to
from Jalisco.
And this is which is a crazy fucking town.
I'm sure.
State. When he came back, I wonder if, but oh fuck, dude.
Are you having realizations now after watching it 7 times?
I'm confused a little bit on because the world is so big and and like Tarantino, they just kind of say it and expect you to figure it out later. I'm just kind of trying to figure it out because there is some sort of connection between Venom and Conejo, and I don't know if that is the same connection. I thought Conejo's brother was killed by George Lopez. And that's why George Lopez got him out of town. That brother was Venom's dad.
Yeah. No, you're building this family tree. I'm envisioning it.
Which is why when they came to collect money from Venom,
Yeah.
and he says, this money, it doesn't belong to you. This money belongs to us. This money belongs to my new family,
Yeah.
Conejo, who has protection over him because they're related that way.
Yeah.
And he's been paying money to the tax collectors because we killed your dad. Your gang now runs for us, and you make us money.
Yeah. I think that's possible. I think that's something that once again, like I said, I've only seen this once.
We need David Ayers here. Honestly,
We do.
This
yes.
is a question for him.
This is really, I want to know, because this is a very, very dense world. It's very dense with a lot of connections.
This movie is and then also very realistic too. The family dynamic that he has, the connection with the sister-in-law, and the whole
Yes.
quinceañera underlying storyline.
Yes.
Like, we forget this all takes place in about 48 hours.
This is a short movie. This is an hour and a half.
Yeah,
it all
it's
takes
95
place in
minutes.
like 2 or 3 days.
I want to say
Wow, life really
48.
changed for him in like 3 days,
after
dude.
that party.
Wow, yeah.
Because this dude showed up. Because the count was short. That was the first problem.
Holy
The
crap.
count was short. And it's funny because he even mentions that in the beginning of like, don't ever make your count short.
I really did like the scenes where they were collecting, where they had a list and they're not, and it was
The
just a day
candy
of work.
bars.
It was just a day of work, and the candy bars. You get to see how they really run their
process.
business, right? How they really protect these gangs and when they're slanging, right?
Sure.
And I liked how intimidating Shia's character was toward the new runner, right? The new shot caller for that whatever gang that was.
Yeah.
And you could see what I think was depicted very well was the vulnerability of the gang members that were whose lives were at stake because of the tax collectors. Like when they go to that new shot caller, they say, "Hey, you're 20 grand short." And they have him at gunpoint and they say it's because my daughter has cancer. She has leukemia.
Do you think that's real?
I think in that story, I mean,
I don't. I'm with Creeper. I think he's making up anything to save his life and keep his money. And I think David gone soft.
I think it was showing that David gone soft, and I think it's showing where Creeper's moral compass does lie and how loyal he is to his job. But also, I don't know. I'd like to see maybe 5 more minutes with that couple.
Yeah, for sure. Another question that I have for you is: didn't they say they had the money to cover it?
Who had enough money to cover it?
David and his wife.
Yes.
Didn't she say they had enough money to cover the
Yeah,
loss?
because she had some floating. She had some floating money.
So then, why were they still scared?
I don't know why they were still scared. Scared of Wizard, you mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Because Wizard told him not to fuck it up, and he would know. They think the house is bugged. That's another thing. That's another thing about gangster films that I think is super underrated. Is how like you don't even know if you're being bugged by the fucking feds or by the gang itself. That's a cartel thing.
What it makes me think of is not necessarily, or were they? It may be afraid of their lives, but like at the end of the day, would Wizard kill his son? Right. I think what David Soto. That whole like, oh, Wizard doesn't even talk to you. I think it's the disrespect
weird.
of
not
of your father not respecting you. I think that's what this movie turned into.
Speaking of disrespect,
what
the scene with Shia LaBeouf and the electric drill, right? So the guy coughs, and he comes up to him and he puts the drill like straight to his heart, and then he pulls off and then he just puts like steps on his shoe.
He says, "Oh, my bad."
Sorry about your shoes, man. So
Shia LaBeouf is so scary.
I've talked about this in the past before. One of the last fights that I got into where I kind of like ended my streak was a bar fight, and the dude had stepped on my shoe,
and you were holding a power drill,
and I fucking put it to his chest and pulled my sunglasses up and was like, "Look, no,
you want to see me hang this poster?"
He stepped on my shoe, and I pushed him off and was like, "Hey man, you stepped on my shoes," and he didn't get it. He was fucking drunk and Irish and didn't understand what was happening. But I took that as immediate disrespect, and not only was it because his whole thing was like, "Oh, is your foot okay?" And my whole thing was like, "It's not about my foot."
Yeah.
It's not about that. No. And like, and I remember trying to explain it to the girls with that night and being like, it wasn't about the fact that he stepped on my foot. Like the point is like, that is disrespect. You don't step on someone's shoe like that unless you're trying to send a message to them.
Yeah.
Seeing that in this film here, like that's especially still early on in the film, fucking fired me up too, because I was like, they got it. They got it. That's it. Mm-hmm. That's what that means to me. Like if somebody, especially now that I have this horrible addiction to shoes where I can't stop borrowing shoes.
Yeah,
if that
man.
shit fucking happened again, I would. That is the fucking worst. Dude.
Isn't it
My
interesting?
palms are fucking sweating thinking about it.
How our primal sense is really. It's another language, right? It is an unspoken language. It's like a mixture of pheromones in the air. You can just feel the tension in the room, like just the
even
look,
through a film, yes,
or even intonation in like how someone says something to you, like "Hey, what's up?" or sup?
Yeah, the up nod
The
or
up
the down
nod
nod.
or the down nod. Like you could feel the disrespect, and it's
Especially for, I think it's interesting too, especially for people who like, for us who grew up in pretty white suburban neighborhoods, like to still understand it, to still like be aware of what, at least definitely for me, I was definitely very hyper aware of like the kind of disrespect that people would throw out, which definitely is a difference between me and you. And clearly, because I had a very aggressive early 20s, because I took everything as disrespect. I was looking at things and seeing things and expecting them to act a certain way, and they weren't acting a certain way. And now it's a disrespectful thing. It's my pride, and it's in my girl, and it's my buddies and my family, and it's everything. Now I gotta fucking kill you, which is, I think, a problem with young angsty men that this film kind of touches on too. You know why George Lopez sits back at the fucking tire shop and makes the calls? It's because he's an old man now. Old men don't go around.
Well, he's
killing people
gone
and shit
through
like that.
it, dude. He was doing exactly what David Soto was doing, right?
He was
a tax collector.
Yeah, and David Soto's goal was to eventually become his Theo. Do you think George Lopez knew he was going to his death when he said, "Hey, man, that thing we talked about, I'm gonna go handle that"?
No, I don't think he was marching to his death.
Oh, bro, I
think maybe.
Oh, dude.
But I think he would have expected to at least taken out Conejo at least.
I think he had to know if Conejo's back, he's gonna come. He's back to kill him.
Yeah.
The only reason why Conejo would come back to America is to kill George Lopez, and I think that's why he said, "You're scared."
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Soto called it out on him.
But the machismo part of George Lopez didn't want to show that fear, which is why he got so upset when when Bobby Soto called him out.
Yeah, and also
slapped him in the face, hey, don't say I'm scared. One deep down inside, he knows why Conejo's there
to kill him,
dude. Yeah, man. It's
does he know? I guess
I could never live a life of a gangster, man. Like on edge. There's something that Shia said.
As far back as I can remember, I've always wanted to be a gangster, bro. I've always wanted to be.
There's a quote that Shia said at the quinceañera where he's saying, like, man, I want what you have. I want to be able to come home to a castle where behind those walls I'm safe.
Agreed.
But every single day I'm living life on edge. You know, this is, he doesn't believe in God. He knows he has taken life.
But even he says right there, it's like, but this is the life I chose.
But this is the life I chose.
Yeah.
Shia LaBeouf's character is so fleshed out and so in a way,
all of them are.
Even though he is such a violent gangster.
Sure.
I would say that he's the most relatable character there, at least that I connected to in like say, I guess in being envious of like someone else's life in that way, and at least he's aware. And I think what was also very relatable about him is that he was willing to die for Bobby Soto.
Right until the wheels come off, bro.
Yeah, right. You know, the day that he dies, he grabs Bobby Soto by the neck and puts him forehead to forehead and says, "I will ride with you until one of us dies." You know, and Shia's acting in that is so believable. I forgot he was Shia LaBeouf for a minute, man. He was playing that character.
He embodies that
so
character
well.
And I think the scars on his face look better in this film than they did in Fury, because those were actual scars he gave himself for Fury.
Damn,
that show up that you see on his face in this one, and he just embodied this character. Does an incredible job.
So much respect for that individual, man.
Such a beautiful film. I mean, aggressively violent and incredibly gory. But
yeah, if I were to have any like criticisms, like I said, it's like I guess poor placement of some flashbacks, some edits that don't necessarily need to be there. There was like one where David goes into the hotel room where he was supposed to meet with his wife, right?
That was a little silly when he doesn't know she's dead yet.
Yeah, and like you wouldn't check the other side of the bed and see her dead body.
No, you
there?
wouldn't, dude. What? When you go into a hotel, you check you go around the bed.
When I'm afraid, when I know my life is in danger and my family's in danger, I'm checking out everything if no one's responding to me.
That looked really realistic to me, though. So I kind of disagree. I think that was very realistic to me because here his thinking is his wife is with his kids, giving them to the sister-in-law, right? So she's not back yet. She's not back yet.
Yeah.
So why would you check around the bed if you know she's not back yet?
Oh, that makes sense. Okay, I didn't take that into account.
And so he goes and washes his face. He looks up and then he sees it. And then suddenly it's like, fuck, why didn't I?
Yeah. But that's not necessarily what I'm
beautiful.
complaining about. But like when she does die, and I understand that he's like torn about it, but in the edit, they go to this flashback where she's looking into the barrel of the camera with her kids for like a good 10 seconds. A little too long.
I don't like any time people... I have something against movies... Unless you're Jim Halpert, don't ever look at the camera.
Yeah, she's like looking at the camera and like she got some fake lips. I think
we're
she
supposed
has
to be Bobby Soto,
lips.
but no way, bro. We're not fucking.
Yeah, dude. I don't know. So that's a complaint that I have. And
look, this movie has some flaws. I'm not saying it doesn't.
Yeah.
But I think it's I think people are going to write this off as a weird Shia LaBeouf film where he's pretending to be Mexican and is too violent.
Yes.
And people aren't going to see the true depth of character and acting that went into this film. And just world building, man. Like, I think at the end of the day, what I really am so enamored by is that the fact that David Ayers in 95 minutes builds on an existing world that is just so deep and rich with characters.
Yes, I did have empathy. I did have a connection to the Bloods there, like, because they're the leader of the Bloods. What was his name? Bone or something like that. Bone, who looked like an older Kobe.
Rest in peace, Kobe.
Yeah, rest in peace, Kobe.
Turtle Kobe.
There was something about him saying like you're a light in the darkness. Or
you're a candle in the darkness.
That's right.
That part I didn't really. We needed a flashback of why they were together for so long.
That's something.
One of the flashbacks we didn't get that we probably should have had was the flashback of them working all together. Yeah. Because at the end of the film, when he rides with him, literally till the end of the film, it doesn't make sense why he's there for that long.
Yeah, David must have done something really good for the Bloods to have that kind of connection, right? To have that kind of trust. Like, hey, I'm going to go into your party real quick, and I need your help. I need some of your guys to, like...
Ride with me. We're going to die. A suicide mission.
Yeah, basically. I don't think any of them died, actually. I think it was none of them. They're pretty badass.
Again, some parts are unrealistic, but
because they would have lost a few soldiers in there.
And they were also like Army Ranger trained hitmen, but like from the hood.
Yeah. Oh man, do you remember that scene where David was strangling one of Conejo's men against the railing?
His splinter cell
type of thing. Yeah, straight up assassinates him. His body's like
where at the same time Bone is ruining the secret and like the stealth of it. Bone is just like legitimately having a loud
shootout,
a loud gunfight in the front yard.
How loud is Conejo's TV inside of that apartment with that goth chick?
Gata. So fucking hot.
Dude, she was good. I like how Shia was intrigued by her.
You know what? That was a line that reminded me of you. Like, I'm fucking, what did he say?
I'm fucking intrigued, though. Some shit like that.
That was a line that I was like, that's something Christian would say.
I'm fucking intrigued.
Like the way he said it too was like, I'm fucking intrigued. She got me fucking intrigued.
Not smooth like that though. Definitely not smooth like that.
No, I do. I think so.
Wow.
Like that was a line where I was truly just like Christian would say that to me.
I'm
like,
flattered.
I'm fucking intrigued. Because
flattered.
of the phrasing too. It's like it's that slang. It's like the very like of the moment talking.
Maybe.
I think in 10 years you won't ever say it, but I think I think
right now.
Yeah.
If I was single and there was a girl that intrigued me, I'll say
I'm intrigued as fuck right now.
Man,
That's what he said.
As fuck.
That's
what he does say.
Yeah, I'm intrigued as fuck. That is a Christian thing. I'm a blank as fuck. I'm interested as fuck. You say that. You do say that.
I do say that.
And so when he said that, I was like, that's a Christian line.
Wow.
That's a Christian line.
Cool.
Yeah,
Man,
but of the two of us, I'm fucking creeper.
Probably, dude. Well, you know who I am in there. I'm like an employee at the tire shop. The girlfriend?
The one who like counts money but is like still pretty much in charge. You know what I mean?
Oh, you're talking about the cousin, Lupe. You remember Lupe?
No, fuck
David's cousin?
Or the twin?
Was she a twin?
Yeah, she has a twin sister, bro.
Oh, those are sisters.
That's like the whole thing is we don't know which sister they're giving the money to.
Oh, Lupe's sister is the one that said, "Hey, Creeper, you gave me like 3 STDs."
Yeah.
And Creeper's like, she's fucking kidding. Cock block Creeper. Oh, like the night before he dies.
Speaking of cock block.
What's up?
You know what I found the other day?
What?
I found almond milk. I found that video.
Oh, you found almond milk?
You remember that video?
Yeah, we were just chanting Baddies. I know this is irrelevant to you guys.
But hey, whatever.
We have videos from that we recorded on my flip or someone's camera.
I did it on my phone.
From like 8 years ago, 10 years ago, maybe.
You were very skinny. Very, very skinny.
That's
in that
2012
film.
then. That's 2012.
You were so skinny.
Dude, at my skinniest, my head was so big.
Yes.
You can see.
Yes.
Like that was too skinny. Like Christian, calm down. Like
you were very yes.
And then I kind of grew into my head a few years later, I guess, having a girlfriend. But yeah, that we were just straight up chanting almond milk.
You were.
I was
and slapping bread. You were slapping bread.
I do have to show you the videos on my old laptop of us.
We'll get
there.
Tax collector.
The tax collector.
I just wanted to bring up almond milk because I found it and was like, I didn't know that this was still around.
Damn. I'm glad it still exists.
Great film, honestly. I can't say that enough. Do we want to give it a rating?
Yeah, dude. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 5.
That's about where I'm gonna get it. Yeah. I see the flaws in it. I see the mistakes. I also see how some people won't like it.
Yeah.
But I can also see how, for me, I'm a sucker for a gangster film.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for good acting.
Yeah. And
this movie had both in buckets.
Yep. Do you have a B-pos? Best person on set? Is it going to
Shia.
be difficult? Dude, how?
It's hard to pick
Can it
between
not
Shia
be?
or David Ayers because I think
Yeah.
David Ayers, being producer, writer, director, I could see how he fought to make this film too, especially after Suicide Squad. I could see production companies not wanting to give him a lot of money. A
Yeah.
$30 million check is a lot of trust for a production company to give him.
Yeah.
So, special shout out to David Ayers, but I gotta say, Shia LaBeouf is knocking this out of the park.
To embody a character that is so different from his roles in the past. And we've said it before, to come from a place where you are a child star and depicted as someone like Stanley Yelnats or even Stevens, to come and do this
His name
kind
was
of
Louis
movie.
Stevens.
Louis Stevens. I'm so sorry. Just saying the titles of TV shows now. Because
Just
Urkel's
throwing
name
it
is
out there.
Family Matters, right?
Well, it's Steven, actually.
Stephen Urkel?
Yeah, Urkel's his last name.
God damn. Okay.
I always have these little, you always try and throw, the end all. And I was like, well, actually.
Yeah, just make me look bad.
Actually. I think it makes me look bad. The well, actually, never makes that guy
Well,
look
actually, you don't want to be that guy.
good. But I fucking
You
am.
are that guy. My best person on set award is also going to go to Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah.
He is a badass motherfucker in here, really embodying this character. I'm going to give an honorary mention to George Lopez, because just as Shia,
And whoever made that decapitated head
yes,
looked very much like George Lopez. Sometimes decapitated heads in films don't look anything like who they're supposed to look like.
no,
That one looked
pretty much like George Lopez. I hope they
Perfectly.
gave that to George Lopez
ugh,
as
I
a
wouldn't want it.
souvenir.
I wouldn't want.
That scared me. Yeah, I immediately regret that after saying it. I would
Well,
not.
I know what I'm getting you for Christmas. I do have a question for you. Though.
Hi.
Hi.
That's such a weird. I know. I'm weird. I say hi when people say like, "Hey, can I ask you something?" Hi.
Do you think this depth of method acting in Shia LaBeouf's Gangster of Creeper
Okay.
is better than Marlon Brando's in-depth acting of The Godfather?
I think it's in the same.
I think they're on the same level. I think the amount of credit that people give Marlon Brando's Don Corleone,
Yeah.
or even De Niro's in Godfather Part 2,
Yeah.
Shia LaBeouf is giving that good of a job. He's
that
doing-
much commitment.
He's giving that high of a commitment
because
to the character.
Marlon Brando, for a long time, he would put a mouthpiece to kind of give him that.
He stuck cotton balls in his mouth.
Yeah, cotton balls in his mouth to give him that kind of like puffy look, that
Mm-hmm.
underbite, and speak in that way. That's commitment. And look at Shia. Shia must be method acting by getting a real tattoo. I wonder what his daily regimen was in trying to embody this character, And so
I bet you there's an interview out there with him. Maybe not, but I would like to hear it from him.
I'm sure he'll talk about it.
I want to know. I would love to talk to actors like that, people who get so deep into films and deep into characters like that.
Yeah.
When Daniel Day-Lewis embodies Abraham Lincoln, does he
Yes.
still have Daniel Day-Lewis thoughts?
No, I'm pretty sure they could flush it out. It's
You know what I
probably
mean?
way back there
And
to
when
have
you
that kind of
do-
ability.
And when you do have a Daniel Day-Lewis thought of like, oh, I better go take a dump and bring my phone with me, does that does
Are
that
you
cap
taking a
the-
dump
yeah.
as Abraham Lincoln?
Does that cap the Abraham? Yeah, because my whole thing is like, if you're Abraham Lincoln all the time on the set, anytime someone brings out a phone, you should be like, "What the fuck is that?"
Yeah,
You know what
don't
I mean?
text me.
Yeah,
No, write me a letter.
You would be so fucked. Like you wouldn't be able to film because
No.
you'd be like, "Look at this camera." You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like then you're not actually embodying the character. You
I
know what
don't
mean?
know, dude.
Because on the flip side of that, you could be Jim Carrey embodying Andy Kaufman for like hours out of the day, where he's like, I like literally
Walking
would
around as him.
turn my brain off and just be like a passenger in Andy Kaufman body, right? Which is how he described it.
Yeah.
So
And I think that's a whole other level of acting. And I don't know really. I know Shia to a certain degree is, but
yeah, I wonder what kind of character actor he is. I don't know if he does Meisner like Marlon Brando
Meisner?
does.
Okay, yeah, that's right. That's right.
Brando's a Meisner actor, or is he Tchaikovsky?
Oh, I don't know, man. Actually, is it Meisner?
I'm pretty sure Brando was like learned from Stanford Meisner.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure he was one of her
Like a
first
direct
students,
student.
directly from Meisner.
Gotcha. Hey, baddies, correct us if we're wrong. Or for
don't,
our
or
own
fuck
ego,
off.
just say yes.
I actually think we're right about him and
You're right.
Meisner. I would love to know what Shia LaBeouf's technique is, but I wonder if he just kind of makes it up as he goes,
Yeah.
because I wonder if he just is that innately artistic.
I don't know, man.
Shia, Hit us up, bro.
Shia, please let us know because
bro.
I'm so curious.
I
as
would
to
love to
what-
talk to you about this film.
Dude, I'd love to hang with. I would have a beer with Shia for sure.
he's
Oh, he
sober.
doesn't drink. I would have
A decaf coffee.
decaf
And
coffee.
I would love to chain smoke cigarettes with you for hours.
Oh, there you go. I'll
You can sit in the room.
sit in the room. Yeah, but I don't smoke. I'm sorry,
I
Shia.
do love his finger tattoos. When he's smoking, you can see the tattoo on his fingers. That I love. I now that I've gotten my
How he says some things, dude.
so good.
I like how it's realistic. He's showing David pictures of these girls that he fucked.
Oh
And
man, I
he's
need
just
more
like-
carrots.
Yeah, he's like why does that person look like a security guard?
Because he's a fucking
security guard, dude.
I do love his. Here's where I think he'd be doing brownface and it would be bad. If he was wearing a grill, if he was always calling people SA or homeboy,
Yeah.
If he was wearing, the high white socks with the chinos and the Converse,
Cortezes.
or the Cortezes is more so.
Yeah.
Right, there's a difference.
Yeah.
I think his character is in what he's doing is in line with who that person would be in a real world. And to say that that's not a real person, you don't know.
Well, if David
you haven't
Ayers,
been to that area.
if David Ayers is straight up saying no,
Is David Ayers from the hood?
I don't know.
How the fuck does he keep writing all these great gangster films?
Maybe
How
he
the
just had a
fuck-
traumatizing childhood.
Because he wrote Training Day.
Hey, well, look it up real quick before we sign off.
Then saw him because we both went to our laptops and
Because
stuff.
but no, I'm curious. Yeah, dude. In his defense,
He writes great gangster films.
great gangster films. David Ayers is saying that Shia is a white boy playing
From fucking Illinois.
a white boy from the hood.
He was in the Navy.
Okay, then he must have read a lot of gangster books, watched a lot of gangster films. Probably is a huge fan of Scorsese.
Holy fucking shit.
What's up?
One of his first screenplays was U-571, the submarine film with Matthew McConaughey.
Oh, really? What year was that?
That was early in the 2000s, but he wrote that based on his time on a submarine.
David Ayers ain't that old at all, man. Not at all.
52.
So, not surprised, man.
Definitely some dark spots on his career, but I do think what they are very particular to him.
Yes.
Bright, Suicide Squad,
That's right, Brian.
Sabotage. Those are all very iconic films that are his taste.
Yeah.
But he's worked with them all.
I haven't even seen Bright yet. Was it good?
No.
Not his best work.
It's fun to see Will Smith play the Will Smith character as a cop,
Yeah.
right? I just love Will Smith doing the Will Smith thing.
I'm a fan of Will Smith, man.
But it was kind of. I'm not a fan of fairies and goblin stories. And
that's all it is,
You would love it.
vampires.
You like Lord of the Rings and
Lord
shit
of the,
like that.
I mean, but this is another take, maybe.
As much
I've
as
always
I'm
been
into dark
curious.
magic, I should love Lord of the Rings. But you know,
just haven't given it a shot.
I was a Bowie fan, not a fucking Black Sabbath fan.
Yeah, you're right. But give it a shot, dude.
I've watched it. I've seen the first one.
Oh, and you didn't watch the rest of it, dude.
Maybe.
Wow.
Are they rated badly? No, they're not.
No.
They're like Academy Award winning
They're
films.
amazing.
Yeah.
Maybe
Ten
one or
poles.
two of the Hobbit films.
No, I
Might
think
be.
I think the last one won. I think all three of the Lord of the Rings films won multiple Oscars.
No, with the Hobbit films though, the
also
Hobbit
won?
trilogy. I'm not sure.
Oh.
I know
I don't think those did.
didn't do as well.
Yeah.
So those critically might be in our category.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think they're right on the cusp of not capable.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I don't know because they took one book and trying to split into three. The typical what Harry Potter did, what Twilight did, type of thing. So I can see how they didn't really do the book justice. I don't know, man.
Have you read the book?
The Hobbit. Yeah, I've read all the books. I didn't finish The Hobbit though because I did lose interest in The Hobbit. I'm all about the originals.
So what happened to Smaug, bro?
Oh, the dragon?
I don't know.
He's probably breathing fire, man.
I'm glad. Hey, see,
Yeah.
I don't know everything, but I know a little bit
You know
about
Gandalf,
something.
you know Frodo, you know Samwise Gamgee? Samwise Gamgee is
Rudy.
Rudy. That's right. Sean Astin, dude.
That's how you can split people and how they know Sean Astin is how do you know Sean Astin? They're like, oh,
there are memes
that's
of that,
fucking
dude.
Sam and then oh no, that's
No,
Rudy.
that's Rudy,
That's
dude.
fucking Rudy.
Or when people say that's the character from Stranger Things, whatever that character's name is.
Millennials.
Yeah, millennials. All right, millennials, this message is for you. Get educated. Get educated. You have anything to say before we're out?
Get educated.
Get
educated.
educated.